Hello everybody, welcome back to a new episode of the Florida Holidays podcast. My name's Abby and as always I am joined by my lovely co-host Zara. Hi Zara.
Hello,
How are you doing? Today?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm very well, thank you.
I'm very excited to be back again on the Florida Holidays podcast. If you have not listened to any of our episodes so far, firstly, where have you been? Because we've had a riot. We've been talking all sorts from big theme parks in Orlando, money saving tips before you travel, while you're in resort. We've had some very special guests on. So
Speaking of.
Yes. We've got another lovely special guest with us today. We've got our lovely colleague, Lindsey. Hello.
Hi ladies, how are you doing? All right?
Good. It's so lovely to have you on the podcast with us.
Good. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So Lindsey is our accessibility coordinator. So there's a good chance that a lot of you have spoken with her already if you've made an inquiry for an accessible holiday. So do you want to start by saying hello to our audience, let them know a little bit about yourself and how you wound up here?
Yeah, of course, no problem. So my name's Lindsey. I'm the accessibility coordinator for the company. I've worked with Ocean Holidays for 7 years now, just over 2 years in this current role as the accessibility coordinator. So it's my job to ensure that in terms of any kind of accessible holiday, that everything is organised as per the client's requirements. So I check all of the bookings to make sure that everything has been met in terms of their particular requirements, right down to accommodation, the special assistance with the airlines, but also in terms of transport, if they want an accessible car, we do that, accessible transfers, all that side of things. And then also I do speak to the clients directly as well, just to give them that reassurance that everything has been organised as per their requirements.
That's amazing. And you have a background in travel anyway, don't you? So I know you've seen
the
other side of it when people are in resort as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So I did tourism management at university. And I also did my work placement for Walt Disney World for a year. So I worked there for a whole year. I did working at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge in private dining for 4 months. And then I did 8 months working in the park in Disney's Hollywood Studios. And I did like meeting and greeting, and also I was in charge of like the VIP area for Fantasmic and things like that.
That's so special.
Yeah, and just showing people around the parks and things like that. So yeah, it was really amazing, absolutely an amazing experience. And I knew I've always had a passion for travel anyway, and I knew that it was something that I'd always wanted to do. So yeah, I've worked both in the hospitality side of things, but also here with Ocean Holidays for 7 years. So.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it? I remember the first time that you and I properly caught up in the business, and we went to the same university, I think, didn't we? And we did almost the same program, and we both went away and did our placement years at Walt Disney World. So
mad.
Yeah, very small world, but it was nice to that was one of the first times that we properly chatted, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Firm friends straight away.
Definitely.
So Lindsey, you've probably just covered a little bit of it there, but would you be able to give us a brief overview of our accessibility programme?
Yeah,
how it came to be, the work that sort of everybody did in the business behind the scenes before it became what it is today.
Yeah.
And I think just explain, because I think a lot of people think that sometimes an accessibility programme can be just for physical disabilities, and it can be that's arranging pre-boarding and wheelchair assistance, and that's what that means. But obviously we have dug a lot deeper.
Oh, absolutely.
So could you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
So, I mean, the accessibility program is for any passengers that are travelling with any kind of disability. So we're looking at anything in terms of physical mobility related disabilities, but also a lot now more to do with cognitive, so anything like autism, ADHD related neurodivergent disabilities, but also hidden disabilities as well, because not everything is, you know, something visible now. So, you know, it could be anything down to a particular medical requirement, you know, those sort of things that we're now dealing with a lot more as well. So that's what the program was set up for, is, you know, to be able to, for everyone to be able to travel, and just to make sure that in terms of the particular requirements that we're able to organise them so that everyone has the right to travel.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's so important.
Yeah.
And for us as a brand, it's really important as well.
Definitely.
Can you tell anybody who might not know a little bit about why the accessibility program came about?
Yeah,
I think it's very important for everybody to know that this was not a box ticking exercise. It really is deeply personal to the whole Ocean Florida family and brand. So if you can give everybody a little bit of an overview of why it's so important to us all.
You know, it's important anyway, because I think a lot of people feel that they can't travel because they don't have the, you know, things set up for them. It is more about additional needs rather than anything else. And you know, we're being able to offer that so that people can travel. And also, you know, there's a very personal attachment to this, in that the director, Harry, has a son with quite severe disabilities, which, you know, he has that very personal touch to it and everything. And in terms of you know, when he goes on holiday and things, you know, there are special requirements that are needed for his son. So this is why it was so important, and why, you know, we're really, really invested in this, is because of that as well. So, and also for myself, I'm actually registered disabled myself. I have mobility issues. I have a condition known as arthrogryposis. So it sort of affects my mobility. So this is why it was so important for me as well, because I've had my own personal experiences, and, you know, it is really, really important to make sure we get it right. Because there's nothing worse than ending up on a holiday that is not suitable for your needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as you sort of touched on there, like with Harry, he knows those very first-hand real struggles that you can face travelling with any sort of accessibility needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's sort of, there was a lot of research done into this by the company as well, wasn't there? Like
Definitely.
There was a good couple of years worth of research that went into it before we sort of dipped our toe in, wasn't there?
Yes, there was a lot of background work. Obviously, I think Harry had initially recognised this is an issue, and he was facing it sort of firsthand with his own family, and what can he and Ocean Florida do about it to help our customers?
Yeah,
definitely.
So when somebody comes through to us with a holiday inquiry related to accessibility, what sort of questions do you and the team sort of ask to them to help deep dive into what their individual requirements are?
Yeah, so what we have is an accessibility form for the clients to complete, and this is done at time of booking as well, for even at inquiry stage. Just so that we know that what we're able to quote the client is going to be what they actually need.
Yeah.
You know, we need to find out as much information as possible. And of course, you know, anyone with a disability will only give as much information that they feel comfortable with sharing. You know, it is personal to them, and they may feel, you know, it's not right to discuss certain matters with us. So we don't try and like dig deep or anything in terms of that, or, you know, try and do anything that's going to offend them or anything like that. So we want to just find out as much information as people are willing to tell us. And it's right down from right to the beginning. So firstly, finding out sort of what the kind of disability is, first of all. And then really just finding out what it is that they actually need right from the beginning. So whether that's related to assistance in the airport, on the flights, things like that, even down to things like dietary requirements and that sort of thing. But then also if we're looking at accommodation as well, we're looking at the right type of accommodation that we're offering, you know, making sure that it's got all of the requirements that they need, you know, whether that be things like walk-in showers or things like that, and then whether to offer hotels or looking into villas, you know, we can base it on what it is that they need and their requirements to make sure that we're offering them the right holiday.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? And I know we always pride ourselves on offering very tailored service.
Definitely.
But this just takes it to the absolute next level because there are instances where things cannot go wrong.
No.
You know, like,
Absolutely.
for example, if you can't put somebody in a wheelchair, accidentally put them in a room that only has a tub if they're not able to, you know, to use one. It is taking that tailored service to the absolute next level with such a lot of care for that individual's needs. And I think that's really special.
And I think as well, for the likes of you, Lindsey, it's not being afraid either to sort of have those open and honest conversations either.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I guess like you say, you can only work with the information that any customer's happy to give you, and that's absolutely fine. But from your perspective, it's being open and honest, I guess, and we can't always, I guess, guarantee that everything is going to go perfect, but it is being transparent, telling them what is possible. And I think as much as we can all do our best to understand, I think, you know, through your lived experiences and things like that, what you offer, which I think would be one of the most important things to me, would be reassurance.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that is something that is priceless, really. And you know, being able to have the open and honesty.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important.
Yeah. Like you say, not shy away from those questions that might be, you know, a little more difficult to ask. But
exactly.
Yeah. I think, like you said, Lindsey's lived experience, that really helps as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like if you found yourself quite often saying to customers, you know, I understand where you're coming from, you know, and being able to sort of relate to them on that level. Yeah,
definitely. So I do actually mention when I do what I always do sort of a concierge call before they travel. So after I've checked everything on the booking, it's around about a month before they travel, I contact them directly just to run through everything on the booking. I'm making sure that everything is as per their requirements anyway. And at that point, I do actually mention to them, I am actually registered disabled myself. So, you know, I understand, you know, what it is that you need. And I think it does give that sort of extra level of reassurance.
Yeah.
And clients have said to me, oh, it's so nice to speak to someone who fully understands.
That's really nice.
You know, and I just think it is important. And I think that, you know, it can be quite a difficult subject, I think, you know, because it is, you know, it is private, and, you know, people do feel sometimes quite uncomfortable about asking those kind of questions and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's so important to make sure you get it right, because, you know, it's make or break for someone, you know, for a holiday.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of experiences where it's not been right, or, you know, like a bathtub, and I'd need a walk-in shower and things like that. So it's making sure that extra level of checking is done, and making sure it's all correct.
And at the same time, the flip coin on that, you are also a massive Florida and USA expert. So there's probably things that you've had to suggest that a customer, as well as they know their own needs and things like that, there's probably where you can go above and beyond is your vast knowledge of Florida and the US as well.
Definitely.
That you can make suggestions that they perhaps wouldn't know to ask.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's been a few different times, you know, in regards to things like about the blue badge, the UK blue badge, and things like that, but also about I've been to Clearwater as well, and there are wheelchair accessible wheelchairs, beach wheelchairs that you can hire, and they're free of charge. subject to availability, but I have mentioned that to many clients as well if they're planning to go down to Clearwater. But that just, it just helps. It's just that extra little bit of information,
Yeah. And it's having the full picture, isn't it? It's having that full picture.
Definitely, yeah. And also we've put together an accessibility guide as well that gets sent out to all of the clients as well. And that just gives some really handy information just about sort of navigating the airports, what the disability facilities are at the parks and things like that, but also mentioning the beaches and Florida accessible beaches and things like that. And it just, for them to read at their own leisure and just like refer back to.
Yeah. So Lindsey, if we've got any sort of listeners with us today that are sort of, their dream would be, to take their family, out to Orlando or anywhere in the US really, and they're sort of in that position where, can we do it? Is it possible? What advice would you sort of be able to give any listeners that are on the fence whether they think it's possible for them and they're nervous about the entire process?
Of course, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think it's so important, and I've always prided myself as well, that, travel and going on holiday is for everybody. No one should not be able to travel. And especially, the US, it's so catered for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
So just, reach out to us if you do have, additional needs, happy to have the discussion and find out what it is exactly that you need.
Yeah.
And we will match that to what it is that you require.
We're happy to do that as well, aren't we, before there's any committed booking.
Definitely,
it doesn't
just at inquiry stage. 100%.
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't have to be the fact that you're sort of booking a holiday in advance and not actually knowing if it is going to be possible for you. Like, all of this takes place before you've even made a committed booking, and then obviously you can go ahead and make the informed decision, I guess, with all the information that you need. And
we have accessibility champions, so people that are able to deal with those kind of inquiries, just to have just that first discussion, even if it's just an initial discussion, that's all to know if something is going to be possible or not. I think that's important because that gives you the knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for anybody that's sort of listening today and they are a little bit on the fence, you just don't know if it's possible for you, please just, give us a ring, give Lindsey a ring. We can talk you through what your options are. And I think generally we've managed to accommodate, I think, every request, haven't we, so far?
I mean, so pretty much. There isn't much that we can't do.
For sure. You actually arranged a service dog, didn't you? On a tailor-made trip to the US. It wasn't.
Absolutely. Never had clients who were travelling with a service dog, but all their flights were organised, and that was something that really opened my eyes as well. And that was something that I've ever dealt with, and expanded my knowledge as well, which was incredible.
Course,
the clients were so happy, and everything was organised for them.
Aww.
So,
that's amazing. Take that little pooch on holiday.
I know. I'd love to take.
Yeah, you'd take your dogs on holiday.
I would.
You could pass them off as little service dogs. So, what sort of common misconceptions do you often come up against when it comes to accessibility in Florida, particularly around the big players, around Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando Resort?
Yeah.
Is there anything that sort of crops up time and time again that you sort of have to myth bust for people?
I think knowing about what the Disability Access Service Pass is and the individual accessibility card, which is both so the Disability Access Service Pass is for Disney and the individual accessibility card is for Universal. Right. I think the misconception is that, people feel that it's for queue jumping. That's not what it's there for. It's really not. And it's for people who really need it, in that they are unable to queue in a conventional queue line. And it doesn't give you that queue jump. What it does is, if you do get authorised it, is that you're able to go to the attraction and then be given an hour time window to come back and ride the attraction.
Right, okay.
So you can go off and do something else. A lot of people, whatever the disability may be, are unable to queue in that queue line. So it takes away that anxiety and stress and everything of the queuing process, and being able to then go back and ride the attraction when their time is.
Yeah.
So
and I think for me, I would assume that a lot of people think like the theme parks are busy, full on, noisy, like everywhere.
Yes.
There's no little corners to escape. But actually, particularly at Walt Disney World, I know like they've got little corners that are quieter. They may be like less known, but there are quiet spaces if like you need to decompress for a minute, because it is sensory overload, isn't it, in the theme parks?
Absolutely. Many people, so many sounds, so many smells, so an overload of the senses.
Yeah.
And there are places where you can decompress, like you said, quieter areas, sensory areas. Especially if you have a cognitive disability, lots of different areas, to cater for all kinds of disabilities. And I think that's what's really, really important.
Yeah, I think I can't, even for like me, sometimes I think
it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, in a really, really great way, but
Yeah.
also like when it's hot, it's busy,
Yeah.
it's noisy, all the things like.
Definitely.
No, and talking to somebody like yourself with that expertise, that you can say, do you know what? You can do the big parks because there is this space where you can go to decompress, or, you could go out and resort hop for a little while, or, there are all these different options. And talking to yourself, like you have that knowledge of all these things.
Yeah, and they change a lot as well. Somebody may have gone to the bigger parks a few years ago, and then now, sort of a couple of years down the line,
they're so different.
They change things, and it could be completely different to when you visited the last time.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's and again, Lindsey, that's why sort of it is so important to speak to you, because you are consistently dealing with this, day in, day out. You know everything back to front, inside out, don't you? So it's
well, try.
No pressure.
It's good because things do change all the time.
Yes.
So getting that up to date information, because nobody wants any sort of surprises, any bad surprises, do they?
Yeah.
Once they arrive.
Absolutely. Policies change and
Yes.
things like that, especially, the way the application process for those kind of the disability access service pass has changed. Back from years ago, you could just go speak to somebody at guest services. Now it's not, at guest relations, it's now not the case, and you have to do a virtual video call. And there's lots of information online and things, and I know there's a lot of information across the Facebook forums and things, how people have done it in different ways. But, the standard process is to, it needs to be done at guest relations and have a virtual video call with them, and it has to be done in the United States. That's
And
what they
you've
want
touched
to do.
on something really important there as well, actually. There is a lot of information on the internet for a quote-unquote regular Florida holiday. I can't even imagine the absolute overwhelm that must come for people who are planning with an extra layer of needs on top. It must
Definitely.
it must be incredibly difficult.
I mean, any Florida holiday, a lot of people, newbies, they don't know where to start as it is. Yeah. And then on top of that, every park has got its own process.
Yes. Yeah.
And you've got to sort of go through this, multiple layers of trying to get everything organised before you go. But how we do try and take that pain away a little bit.
That's part of the whole thing, isn't it?
Definitely.
Like we've said, our experts we've done the work, we've done the research. That is the whole point of your role. You're the one to take the stress away.
So I think we spoke a little bit there about Universal and Disney, but beyond the well-known theme parks, have you got any hidden gems that people may not know about that are surprisingly accessible? So, not the bigger parks. So it may be a beach, like I know you mentioned that Clearwater Beach has got sort of beach wheelchairs and things like that. Is there any other little hidden gems that you've sort of come across?
So, I mean, Legoland, also
Yeah.
Peppa Pig World as well. They're both autism certified parks, so great for anyone who's got any kind of neurodivergent disabilities. Also Kennedy Space Centre, amazing as well for being autism certified as well. So, just different, rather than like you said, the big players, the big parks, taking yourself away to those kind of smaller, but which are very well catered for those kind of disabilities. And just for a different kind of experience as well, you know. So definitely those. And SeaWorld as well is also autism certified as well. So there's, every park is wheelchair accessible anyway, so it can cater for any kind of disabilities. But I would definitely say those kind of ones. But also, if you want to venture out a little bit further, things like Gatorland, they've got their first ever wheelchair accessible zip line, which is absolutely incredible. To think. I've never done it, but I've heard people that have, and wow, just to even be able to actually experience that must be incredible. You wouldn't think that was something that would be actually possible. But to have something like that is incredible.
And I guess it's even things it doesn't even need to be about parks or beaches or it could be about restaurants and sort of making that sort of recommendations and things like that, because it's all part of someone's holiday, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Things like is it the T-Rex? What's the one?
The T-Rex
at Disney Springs.
Cafe.
I want to say T-Rex Cafe.
Yeah,
we'll call it that
right,
for a minute.
Yeah.
But for example, if somebody has got a neurodivergent disability, that's full on.
Yes.
It's
very
absolutely.
noisy. There's things sort of coming out of the ceiling.
Incredible.
But
if that's something you struggle with, things like that, you're going to know to recommend people to stay away from. It's just all of this insider knowledge. And like you said, it's all stitched together. You've got your parks knowledge, you've got your accessibility knowledge.
Yeah.
You keep up to date with all of our partners.
Oh, God,
and you know it
absolutely.
all. And just a little bit on the beaches as well. I know you mentioned the beach wheelchairs.
Yeah.
And they have things like Moby mats, don't they? And
yes, they do. Yeah, to get you all the way down to the seafront.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I think people might sometimes rule out a beach trip. But there's definitely ways to do it.
Definitely, especially, if you, like myself, actually, I've got, I use a mobility scooter to get around, and that does not go over sand. And there are wheelchairs out there that are able to, cater for using the sand. But that's why those beach wheelchairs they'll take you all across the sand, right into the sea,
the water
as well. Yeah, absolutely. No one should feel like they can't do something because the things are there for them. The services are there. The facilities are there. It's so important for everyone to have the right to be able to do whatever they want to.
And in terms of getting to these places, can we arrange things like accessible car hire? Can we arrange accessible shuttles, or are there shuttles in resort that people should know about?
Yeah, if we're talking about wheelchair accessible car hire, absolutely. We've got particular suppliers that we use that would be able to offer vehicles that allow the wheelchair user to actually remain in their wheelchair if needs be, with ramps that go up into the vehicle, and actually, the wheelchair user can stay in their wheelchair throughout the vehicle. But again, also with transfers as well, we have exactly the same options in terms of adapted transfers, allowing the wheelchair user to remain in their vehicle if they need to.
Amazing.
In their wheelchair.
And the iRide trolley.
Fully wheelchair accessible.
If anybody's booking a Ocean Florida holiday to Orlando, our Ocean Explorer a lot of the times will include iRide trolley tickets.
Definitely.
And that is wheelchair accessible. And they're fantastic. They're so regular, up and down International Drive all day. They can get you to all the sites, all the things.
Definitely.
And I know as well of is it the Sunrunner shuttle, the bus that's in
okay,
St. Pete
yeah.
Clearwater. They're quite new, nice shiny new buses all around St. Pete. They do like a big loop, and they are wheelchair accessible as well. They're beautiful new buses. So like even if you're down to the beach, you can still get about as well.
Yeah. But also, I mean, if you're talking about the hotels as well, you know, their shuttles are ADA accessible as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of the hotels you would need to like pre-book for the shuttles, but especially if you're on site at Disney or Universal, they're all fully wheelchair accessible and very regular.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess it's the transport. Yes, it's very, very important, but it's other kind of equipment as well, isn't it? That Lindsey, that we can arrange.
Definitely.
So, you know, if somebody wants a mobility scooter, if somebody needs equipment in their room or equipment in the villa, we can arrange that and we can have it delivered.
Definitely.
We can do all of that, can't we? Just to try and make.
Absolutely. You know, some people will feel that they don't want to take their own mobility aids with them and they would rather hire them whilst they're out there. You know, there are the options at the theme parks to do that. But, you know, they are sort of subject to availability, you know, that on a first come, first serve basis. So it would be, if that was something you wanted to do and you just wanted to hire it at the park and you didn't need it anywhere else, then that's absolutely fine. But you just need to make sure, and we would recommend, you know, to be at the parks early and go to there first.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to hire for like a duration of your holiday, we've got great partners that we work with, suppliers that we work with, to deliver equipment, you know, mobility aid equipment, whether that be mobility scooters, wheelchairs, all of that side of things, but also medical side of things as well. We look into things like commodes, also hoists, if you needed hoists and things like that to be delivered to a villa or to a, you know, to a hotel. You know, there shouldn't be anything that should be off limits. And like we've said, you know, if you do have questions, you know, to see if something was going to be possible, I'm happy to look into anything that
It's
needs
all,
to be.
I guess for you, I guess it's just all part of the planning process, isn't it? The planning steps that you will walk everybody through.
Yeah, and if it's not something we can say, yes, we can definitely do straight away, then, you know, it might take a little bit of information. We need to do a little bit of research, you know. Nothing should be sort of really off limits.
I love that. Just because you don't have the answer in front of you doesn't mean it can't happen.
That's
like,
it. Yeah, absolutely.
I really love that.
So I think, is there anything else, Lindsey, that we haven't sort of mentioned today that you think is really, really important? I think I'd like to think we've covered everything.
I have a question. I thought of something at the beginning. You mentioned way back at the beginning about blue badge holders in the UK. You just briefly touched on it. And I wondered, because I don't know, if you're a blue badge holder in the UK, can you take said blue badge away with you? Does it have like the same things, or do you have to apply for anything different?
Good question, Tara. It's a question that comes up a lot, actually, to be quite honest. So the way that the UK blue badge works is that it is considered as a valid parking permit if you're parking on private land. So this will cover anything in terms of parking at the theme parks, like restaurants, supermarkets, that sort of thing. Anything that's got their own private car park would be considered as valid. And that allows you into the disabled parking areas, which are closer to the entrance for the theme parks especially. But there aren't any sort of concessionary rates in terms of disabled blue badge parking. If you're considering parking more on public lands, so things like parking on the road parking, that sort of thing, then you do need to consider applying for a temporary parking permit.
Right, okay.
And that's something that you have to do with the regional Florida tax offices when you're out there. But, I mean, in more than likely, it's most people when they're hiring cars and things like that, they're just planning to go to the theme parks and stuff like that. So it's
In general,
yeah. So it's not something. There are clients that have gone and gone to the tax offices and sorted that sort of side of things out. But if that is something that I can send all the information in the accessibility guide covers that as well. So
and just another thing. So a lot of people will know us as Ocean, Florida. Does what it says on the tin. But we do also offer travel throughout the United States as well.
Definitely.
So we've been very Florida heavy, very Orlando heavy here in this conversation. What if somebody's looking to travel to New York, California, any of these other places? Can you still help them with other destinations?
Absolutely, of course. It's back to the beginning, really. It's finding out what the requirements are and then just basically looking into it and matching what it is that they need and being able to offer the right holiday for them as per their specific additional needs and requirements.
And of course, as with any, again, moving back to Orlando, but with any Orlando holiday, hopefully everybody knows by now about the free Ocean Explorer. But the accessibility packages, they do also come with a couple of other extras, don't they, which we automatically include on every booking. Would you be able to just tell us about those, Lindsey?
Of course. So subject to availability, but if you do have an accessibility booking and have completed the accessibility form, then you do... it does entitle you to fast track security and airport lounge at the airport. And we find that this is a really good thing to have, especially because airports, like we've discussed before, but airports are such busy places.
They're intense,
intense, sensory overload, especially. And it's always the case that, there's never enough seats. People can never find anywhere to sit and everyone's rushing around getting their last little bits or getting food and drink and things like that. Now, what we offer is having the airport lounge, like we said, subject to availability, but and that, you'll be able to have your own area in the lounge and be able to have food and drink included in there. So it's a really nice start to the holiday, but also a really much more relaxing and smoother, calmer start to the holiday as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Thank you.
And to add, we do also, we've partnered with the Hidden Disability Sunflower Lanyard as well. So if any clients complete the form and there's a tick box, if they would like to have a sunflower lanyard posted out to them before they depart, then we can send that out to them free of charge. And that just is universally recognised now. And it will just help, especially on the security side of things, allowing them to able to access the special assistance lines. So that will just help get, again, smoothing up the process in getting through security so they don't have to wait in the extreme queue lines that can sometimes be at security.
A lot of people have said to you, Lindsey, haven't they, how stressful the entire airport process is from A to B. And I think what we've done as well, initially we offered something slightly different, didn't we, when we first launched the accessibility program, and just sort of taking on the feedback that we've had and the learnings that we've made during that time. We've made changes, haven't we?
We have.
And the fast track, the lounge seems to be working much better for people, doesn't it?
Definitely. And we do take that on board a lot. We take a lot of people's feedback on board. We've done a lot of consumer surveys and things. And that's how the program really started about, is we went out to people to ask them about it and what they needed and things like that. And it is based on personal experiences and things. So, we do send out sort of consumer surveys, like I've mentioned, but also things like reviewing on Trustpilot and things. We really, really do appreciate any kind of feedback that you have with regards to your holiday.
Yeah,
we want to make it better. If there's anything that can be improved, absolutely. We want to do that.
Yeah, sounds great, Lindsey. Thank you. So, We ask any guest that we have, our 3 questions.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and ask you those, Lindsey. So we may have touched on this, so I'll hope I'm not putting you on the spot, because I know you've already mentioned a couple of them. But what is your hidden gem in Florida relating to accessibility? Have you got a hidden gem?
I mean, I think it would probably be the fact that you can get beach wheelchairs in Clearwater.
That's incredible.
Especially if you feel like you need a bit of time away from the parks and you want to incorporate part of the beach with your trip. Clearwater's only sort of about an hour and a half away from Florida, from Orlando. So, if you hire a car, or even, like you said, if you wanted to get the shuttle buses and things like that, it's definitely recommended, because a lot of people do have that misconception where they feel like, oh, well, I can't go to the beach because I'm in a wheelchair and I won't be able to get onto the sand, or I definitely won't be able to get into the sea.
Yeah.
So having that amazing facility to be able to do that, it's definitely got to be something which is experienced, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've experienced it myself, and I can tell you, amazing.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. And I think you've thrown a lot of tips in here, and it has been
it's difficult, isn't it?
It's hard then for me to say what's your absolute top tip.
I know.
But you've thrown so many tips in here. Like, if you had to pinpoint one, what is your absolute top tip for planning an accessible holiday? Not just in Orlando, but anywhere in the US that we can help with.
Don't leave things to last minute.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I mean,
I like that.
I'm always saying that. And I think also, being, disabled myself, it's always something I need to do a little bit of research on. If I'm going to a new place, I always have to just make sure that it's fully accessible. Yeah. So, and I think anyone with a disability will also have that sort of same mindset anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, just making sure that you've pre-planned things, you're aware of different things, and especially, if you are traveling with your own sort of mobility aids, is just make sure that you give all of the information beforehand, as much as soon as you can, in terms of then being able to sort of register that. And, with my job, I'm taking away that sort of pressure and responsibility that someone has, because I'm organising everything in terms of the assistance. And that's what I wanted to really reassure and assure people that, you tell me exactly what you need, and I'm going to be able to get everything that is required for you.
They're not on their own in this at all.
Absolutely not. And
I love that.
I love to sort of schedule calls. I do offer the concierge call, which is a month before, but I'm very happy to schedule other calls. Yeah, a lot of clients just want to have a little quick chat, or drop me a question or anything.
Something's on their mind.
Emails. Yeah, absolutely.
We all know that questions just in the middle
they
of the
do,
night,
they
you're
just
like,
pop into your head,
I
don't
need
they?
to.
Yeah,
At the most
definitely.
inconvenient of times.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I heard you on the phone to somebody this morning, even actually while we were upstairs, and you're just so personable, and you set everybody at ease, and you do a fabulous job.
Yeah. And you know what you know what you're doing. I mean, you travel alone, don't you?
I do.
You just go, don't you? You just do it.
Well, yeah, actually took my first solo holiday in August. I just went away just for 4 days to Italy, to Bologna. But yeah, never something that I'd done before, but I really felt like I wanted to do it. And also, been in this job role, I think it's given me that little bit extra confidence as well, because I'm planning everything for everyone else. So why shouldn't I be able to plan it for myself?
You get a slice of the action as well. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, really absolutely.
Oh. And our final question is, what does day one of your dream Florida holiday look like? So if you just arrived, let's say in Orlando, or it might be in Miami, if that's more your thing. But it's day one, you've just arrived. What is the first things that you like to do?
I like to sort of get my bearings,
Yeah.
really. Just find out where everything is, you know, the nearest supermarket, things like that.
Yeah.
Just, you know, just so that you can get a feel for it. So you're not going out there completely blind thinking, oh, where is the nearest this or the nearest that? Or, you know, how far away is a particular restaurant or things like that. I think, just sort of, I think that's with anywhere that you go as well, that you kind of do like a little, what I call like a bit of a recce festival. Exactly. Like first just to find out like how far things are away.
Familiarise yourself with everything.
Get your bearings.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you can sort of then start to plan, oh, okay, so this is, you know, so much distance away.
Yeah.
That's how much time I need to get to there and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
And would you pick beach or theme park?
Oh, I'm always about the theme park.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, my love's with Disney. It always has been, you know. Ever since, you know, I was a little girl, and I knew, even going right back to my work placement again, but I picked the particular university because I knew it had... because I knew it had links with Disney and I could do my work placement with them.
It was one that was on the list.
That was like my number one reason. We went to the same place.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I just, I knew it was something that I wanted to do and I was determined to do it. So
You did it.
And I did it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been like,
you're so
it's
welcome.
been a pleasure. And like, even for Abby and I think I speak for Abby anyway, when, you know, we work in this environment every day and there are still things that we don't, you know about accessibility. You are like the absolute font of all accessibility knowledge.
But what it is for me as well, it's the fact that I think you've said it a few times throughout our chat today, but it's the way everybody should be able to go on holiday, and that's the thing that gets me.
Yes.
And that really comes across, Lindsey, when you're speaking.
Definitely.
About it. It's that you know, genuinely believe that, and that really comes across.
Yeah. As I said before, it is not a box ticking exercise.
No, it's not.
Either for the company or for you.
No.
And I've got to throw, like, you're probably going to hate me for this, but I've got to throw it in there. Our lovely Lindsey has been nominated in the, is it Travel for Everybody Awards.
Yeah.
So we are all wishing you the absolute best of luck. And
thank you so much.
regardless of the outcome, you're an absolute superstar within this business. And
absolutely. In the industry, really.
yeah, you are such an integral part to the whole accessibility programme.
Oh, thank you
We
so
love you.
much. That's very sweet.
And our new brochure, you might have spied it on the wall there. We've got a lovely feature with our Lindsey as well. So there's a nice accessibility feature in there as well. So thank you. No doubt we'll get lots of questions and we'll wing them your way.
Yeah, definitely. Throw me any questions. Absolutely. I'm happy to answer anything. No, thank you.
It's
been
Lindsey.
lovely. Thank you.
So thank you for joining us on another episode of the Florida Holidays podcast. Hopefully it's been insightful. We've answered lots of your questions. If you have got any more questions on accessibility, just let us know and we'll pass them on to Lindsey, as she said. We are on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're all over your socials, and there's a link below to sign up to our email newsletters as well. But we will see you next time on a new episode of the podcast. Bye.
Bye.